Listen, your time is precious, and I don't want you letting any man waste it. Some men are just lying, manipulating, no good, good for nothing, horrible people looking to take advantage of you. But that doesn't mean that every guy only wants you for sex. The thing is, how do you know? He just doesn't want a relationship with you. And I know that might be hard for you to hear and a hard pill for you to swallow, but I don't want to give you no BS. Because the unfortunate reality is that there are going to be men who engage with you, maybe even take your number, maybe go on a few dates, right? Want to sleep with you, but they're not serious about you. Now listen, this goes off the assumption that you want something serious, all right? So now if you don't want anything serious, then what this video has to say may not apply to you, or you may not care to hear it. But I'm going to assume if you're watching is because yes, you're looking for something real, and you need to be aware of what some of these red flags are that show you, nah, this guy's not it, or he's not trying to give you what you're looking for. So let's get right to it. Number one, he is unwilling to discuss his intentions or where you two stand, all right? So if you read any of my books, which you should go read, He's Lying Sis, I'll show it to you later. But anyways, if you read any one of my books, then you know I'm big on this whole pay attention to the guy who says, let's just go with the flow, who gives more of a vague response or a vague plan as far as what he's trying to do here with you. Because chances are he's just trying to have his fun. He wants to enjoy you. He may like you again, but he just doesn't have serious intentions. And so what you will find in most cases is that the guy who is not serious about this woman is not trying to have a discussions about what he's trying to do here, because he understands that in most cases, damn near all, if you guys have that discussion and he honestly says to you, I am not looking for anything serious, there's a very good chance you will walk away. Not always, because we know plenty times, and you may have done it, where a man said it and you still held on. Maybe because you were cool with that, maybe because you thought he would change his mind, or you thought you could change his mind, whatever. But the point is, he doesn't want to take that risk. And so he would much rather avoid the conversation altogether than to put himself in a position where he doesn't get to enjoy you at some level. So he doesn't want to talk about what his intentions are, nor does he want to talk about where you two stand, because that's the other question that comes up a lot, or women ask men, is what are we doing here? Where do we stand? What's going on? All right. And again, providing you with clarity means if he's willing to be honest, and I would argue that a lot of times, a lot of men, it's not that I'm trying to find the right way to say this. A lot of men will lie by omission, okay? It's like they don't really want to have to flat out say to you, I want a relationship, when they know damn well they don't want it. They rather just dance around the topic. They rather just avoid the topic, avoid answering that question altogether, rather than having to just flat out lie, okay? So he does not want to have to face that, because again, that takes a huge risk in him losing out on getting to enjoy you at the level that he wants to enjoy you. But when he is serious, there's no problem having that discussion. There's no problem telling you what he's looking for. There's no problem telling you what potential he may see here, or whatever the case may be. And of course, yes, are there going to be some liars in there who are willing to have that discussion and still be playing games, still not be serious? Absolutely. We're going to always have some bad in there. But for the most part, what you're going to notice is when he's not serious, he's not even trying to answer that question. Second sign he's not serious about you is he rarely initiates contact. Now, again, to some of you, y'all might be thinking or saying, this is common sense. Listen, no, I'm sorry, but common sense ain't always so common. And a lot of times, because we get caught up in what we want and our like for this person, and this can happen both ways to men and women, we start to overlook a lot of red flags, or as I say, we rationalize past these red flags. And one of those rationalizations is the whole lack of communication and lack of contact. And so here's the thing. I understand that some people are very busy, though I know most of us will agree that someone, whether they're busy or not, people make time for what they want to make time for. However, I do think that, of course, there are some people who have a lot more time to give because they don't have much going on, whereas others generally are busy, and so there's a little bit more that goes into them making that sacrifice. Either way, a man who rarely initiates contact is showing you he's not serious. Now, again, not serious is not equal to not liking you. Not serious is not equal to not viewing you as a good woman or seeing any value in you. It not serious is simply equal to not either willing or ready to pursue or pour the energy necessary to create or build a relationship, a serious relationship. So I think it's important to understand that, because I think that's where the other confusion kicks in, because it's like, well, he seems like he likes you. You know, he seems like he's really interested. He may be interested in you, right? In the sense that, yeah, like, this girl looks good, she's smart, she's this, boom, 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 but something's missing. Or he's just at a point in his life where making a serious commitment is not on his radar right now. Whatever the hell it is, he's not there. And so when he is unwilling to initiate contact, or he rarely initiates contact, that becomes a concern. Now, I will say this, because we have to understand that it's not always so black and white. And that's why I always encourage you to address an issue before you cut someone off or jump to a final conclusion. So if he's rarely initiating contact, I'm going to give you one example of what could happen. All right. This is not to excuse the behavior, but it explains it, and it is why we have to go deeper. Let's say he's not initiating contact because he feels like you don't initiate contact. So what I mean is that there are many situations where man and woman meet, they exchange numbers. They may talk the first couple days, right? But and maybe initially he did initiate contact for the first few days, week, whatever. But at some point, he's not calling as much. And for a lot of women, they feel like, well, it's the man that should be calling me. It's on him. Like, I don't know how many times I've had women say, well, I haven't heard from him in 5 days. And I'm like, well, did you call him in those 5 days? Like, what do you mean? Like, so it's only his responsibility. It's not yours at all. And so he may have withdrawn, or he may be showing not the same level of initiative and effort because he's not sure where you stand. He's not sure how interested and serious you are. Because I know some of y'all may think it's only the man who's playing games or not serious. Nah, women do it too. So he has to be cautious at times, or he has to be paying attention to these red flags as well. And that's why it's so important to simply have a conversation, because in that conversation, you can discover that. I remember one time on one of my previous YouTube videos where I explained this dynamic, and a woman commented and said she almost cut the guy off. They had a conversation. It did turn out in her scenario that he wasn't sure she was really that interested. Once they hashed the whole thing out, she said everything got better. Now they're in a relationship and they're extremely happy together. Like, it really can play out that way. And so you got to be willing to just talk about things and not just jump to conclusions. Now, that was just one example. But again, the point is, you never know. But I'll say this, if you address it and you guys can't hash it out, or he now is unable or unwilling to correct it, all right, now we can proceed with, he ain't serious, keep it moving. But this video isn't about the average person who may lie here and there, which I'm not validating or approving. I'm just saying that's what happens. This is about the pattern of behavior, the constant lying, the constant manipulating, the man who has bad intentions, who has no desire to give you clarity and peace and be transparent with you. He's simply trying to play you. So there are consistent behaviors that these men tend to have that I want you to be aware of. So now let's get to it. Number one behavior of a man who lies is he's very distant and emotionally unavailable. Now, again, let me phrase it like this. Is any man who is distant or emotionally unavailable a flat out liar and manipulator? No. Some people are just, they have deeper issues. Some people may not be comfortable with you. Very possible. But what I am saying is, if he's a liar, he's typically not the most open and transparent person. He's typically going to be very distant, very secretive, all right? He's going to show this behavior. And again, like I said, the liar is going to typically show at least two or more of these behaviors. So it's one thing for him to just be emotionally unavailable and distant, which the arguments can still be made if he's doing that, liar or not, while you're dealing with him. Because you can't have a great relationship or a successful, healthy relationship with a man who's emotionally unavailable and a man who's very distant. So regardless, that's a red flag, needs to be addressed. And if it can't be corrected, you're going to have to walk away. But in regards specifically to him being a liar and a manipulator, again, liars and manipulators do engage in this emotional unavailability because it makes it easier. Basically, the less I let you in, the less I have to lie about. The less I have to even come up with different stories. It's easier just to shut you out and keep things in secret. So I don't have to try to explain it. And then when you try to ask me, why don't you let me in? I can deflect. I can throw all kinds of different stories at you. I can somehow still end up with not letting you in. And that still shows that that's an individual who, when he is a liar, that is a typical behavior he will engage in. So be mindful of that. But again, address it, address it, address it. Third on this list of behaviors of a man who lies, before I give you the third one, real quick, he's lying, sis. Perfect book for this video. Makes perfect sense. Get your copy. Link below in the description or in the comments section. First one that you'll see down there. Women are loving the book, finding it extremely helpful. It breaks down a lot of different scenarios that women have gone through and understanding the lies, understanding how to handle it. And it goes a lot more in depth than that. So again, he's lying, sis. Check it out. So back to number 3. He doesn't take personal accountability. Listen, liars and manipulators do not hold themselves accountable. They got every excuse in the book. They're always making it about it's this, it's that, it's this person. It's never them. All right. They don't want to have to face themselves in the mirror because, again, a liar and a manipulator is trying to hide from reality, trying to hide from any consequences, trying to hide from any work that they're going to have to do to make anything better. So when you notice that this man never takes accountability, this is a huge red flag. And again, is it possible for a guy who's always saying it's this one's fault, that one? You know what? I want to say it's possible that he's not going to be a liar, but it's just not likely because at some point they're going to have to twist the story to still make them be the victim. They're going to have to give false details so that they can deflect from this issue. That type of behavior leads to, even if their initial intention wasn't to lie, it is hard because if you're going to be honest, then you can find fault in what you did. If you're going to be honest, you can see where you can improve. But if you don't want to face those facts, you're going to have to bring lies. You're going to have to twist the story. That's just the way it goes. So when you see that he never takes personal accountability, that is the behavior of a man who lies, and it needs to be addressed. So now that brings me to number 4 on this list. He's quick to turn the tables on you. So like I said, he doesn't take personal accountability. It's always about someone else. So then what happens is when you try to address him, he flips it on you. So this reminds me of a story real quick. I got to talk about this. Where I remember there was a guy I knew. All right, this was many years ago, so don't judge me. But anyways, the guy had a girlfriend, and I didn't know what he was doing. All right, but it turned out she found out he was running these streets, cheating, acting a fool. She calls him up. All right, he's at my house. He's talking to her on the phone, and she's going in on him about the whole situation. But then next thing you know, he kind of walks away. I'm doing my own thing. But next thing you know, I hear him going off on her. All right. So now this whole conversation has switched to him being angry with her, him talking to her all kinds of ways. And by the end of the conversation, she's apologizing to him. But here's the kicker. When they hung up the phone, the first thing that man did was look at me and laugh. He knew exactly what he was doing. Liars and manipulators are fully aware. And again, that whole turn the tables on you, that is a huge behavior of a man who is a liar and a manipulator. He knows how to somehow make it your fault. How now, well, you did this wrong. Now it's on you so that he can take the spotlight off of him. It is classic deflection. And the sad thing is it works if you are not as aware as a woman. So let me just give you this quick tip. If you ever find yourself in a situation where someone's trying to turn the tables on you, don't fight them on what they're trying to now put on you. Stick to the script of what you called them about. And if they won't, do not continue the conversation. See, the mistake that people make in those situations is that now you actually get caught up in trying to defend yourself. And if the liar is good, they know how to keep their foot on your neck so that you keep having to fight back, and you lose all track of what the whole conversation was really about. And the fact that they were the one that were in the wrong and you were addressing them first. So once you catch that they're trying to put you in a position of defending yourself when you know you genuinely were not in the wrong. It's different if you actually were in the wrong. That's a whole other conversation. But if you know you were genuinely not in the wrong and that you were addressing this properly, all right, and you now see they're trying to flip it, you got to stop the conversation. Do not allow them to have that, and let it be known if they're unwilling to address the issue that you are trying to address, that is your exit out of the relationship. Because if they want to allow you to address this issue with them, how can you ever build something healthy with them? How can you ever be happy here? How can you ever have peace? Because you're never going to get your feelings heard. You're never going to get the issues addressed. You're never going to get anything resolved. And so it's a clear sign you're dealing with a liar, and a clear sign you're with the wrong man and in the wrong relationship. So end it all together. Now, listen, I know this can be a very frustrating dynamic for a lot of women. And of course, there may be some of you who say, well, that's what you want right now. And as a grown woman, if that's what you want from that guy and you know, you guys are on the same page, that is your choice. I'm not saying I'm condoning it or supporting it. I'm saying you're grown, make your own decisions. But the reality is that many of you have found yourself in situations where you were hoping for more, and maybe that guy even tried to say or claim he wanted more, but it turned out all he wanted was to sleep with you. So I'm going to give you the signs to look out for. And as always, address the signs. I know some things you might be like, you know what, there's nothing to address. Just cut his behind off, end the story. And I get that. And I'm not saying I don't understand or embrace that to a certain extent, but I think it is best to be consistent with my message by saying always address the issue, because there can be rare situations where there's just a misunderstanding, all right, and things can be cleared up. But let's get to it. Sign number one, he only wants to have sex with you. He doesn't take you anywhere. Now, I know of tons of scenarios where women meet men, exchange numbers, and at the end of the day, they never go on a date. It's either come to his house or he goes to her house. Hell, I even know some situations where the only place they meet is at the hotel. All right, true story. And so that's a clear sign this man pretty much just wants to have sex with you. It's extremely rare. Again, it can happen. It can happen where there's just a guy who's not big on going out, and if you allow him to get away with not taking you out, he may not and still actually want to spend time with you and like you. But most cases, if he's not making any effort to take you anywhere, he just wants to have sex with you. And so again, this is one of those things where you've got to talk about it. If you notice that when you bring up going out, that he's always making excuses, shutting it down. And this is what happens to a lot of women, where he may agree at first, oh yeah, okay, we're going to go out next week, or we're going to do this. And it's every single time there's an excuse and a cancellation. Every single time there has to be a rescheduling. And ultimately, weeks are passing and this man has still yet to take you out. Well, yes, that is a clear sign. And again, just so you understand on a deeper level why, is because, one, he's not really trying to be seen with you. And he may not be trying to be seen with you because he doesn't want, if he's in a relationship, God forbid, he doesn't want nobody to find out and get back to his main woman, all right? He may simply not want the world to see him with you because, this sounds so bad, but this is just the honest truth. Sometimes he's not proud of dealing with you. Lord, forgive me for even saying that, but I can't just lie to you. There are some situations like that. I don't want you to jump to that conclusion, but does it happen? It does happen. When the guy's trying to hide you to that extent, that can be the case, okay? And ultimately, he's not trying to put that kind of an effort. The reality is that going out requires effort. And I will say, you have to understand that men in general typically aren't as about going out as women are, which is why, like, I've noticed in various cities and places where you go out to festivals and things like that, you'll tend to see more women there. Women love to go out. They'll go to brunch, they go to festival, they go to art, they go to all these different things. And a lot of guys like staying home, watching sports, chilling, watching TV, whatever the case may be. So there's already this thing that leads to men staying home more often than the woman. But again, when he really likes a woman, when he's serious about her, he's at least willing to. He's willing to. If you want to get out some more, he's at least willing to try to get out some more. So the fact that he's not even trying, yeah, bad sign, definitely looking like he just wants to have sex with you. So number 3, the third sign that he only wants to have sex with you, he cancels whenever you're on your period. So listen, bottom line is this. If a man is just trying to have sexual relations, then he's not trying to hang out with you when sex is not on the table. And it's not even just he cancels when you're on your period, because some of y'all sneaky ones, well, let me not say sneaky, that's wrong for me to say that. Some of y'all did not warn him in advance that you were on your period. Not that you have to announce you're on your period, because, of course, if the assumption is you're trying to have a serious relationship, why would you be thinking you have to say that? But the point is, sometimes it's not that he got to cancel because he knew you were on your period. It's that after you told him and he was already in your presence, he's quick to leave. Or he even catches an attitude with you, all right? These are all bad signs. So cancellation, catching an attitude, quick to leave after you do let him know, all right? This is all signs of chances are he just wants to have sex, and therefore his willingness to hang out with you outside of sex being on the table is just not there. Plain and simple. And again, that guy, he does not want to, his time is, he does not want to give you time outside of sexual relations. You know what I'm saying? Other than the preliminary, little chit chat here and there. All right, let's get to the room, let's do it, boom, and then he's gone. All right. So yes, if he always cancels on your period, that is a huge sign. Now, let me just say this because it's popping in my head. I don't want you to try to make up fake moments that you have your period to test a man. All right, I just don't believe in the playing games like that and lying to test. I understand the temptation. All right, I can see why you may want to try it to see how he reacts. But please, if you're gonna say you're on your period, let you actually be on your period. Always remain honest and truthful. And my thing is this: a man who only wants to have sex with you, it's going to show in various ways. And we're going to continue to talk about some of the other signs, but you're going to see it in more ways than one. So you don't have to play games in order to expose if he just wants to have sex with you. So let's get to number 4. And number 4 is this conversation is always sexual. All right. So again, men who are only looking for sex don't really care to delve into deep emotional discussions and trying to figure out all your life story and all these different things. For what? It's about getting into the bedroom. And so not only is he not trying to have those types of conversations, again, he will tend to highlight sexual things when you do talk. Or he will send you the infamous penis picture. All right? You will get one of those texts Because he's giving you, the penis picture is like the Batman signal, all right? When he shines that, he's telling you he's open for business, he knows what's up, or he's trying to tell you that this is what's up with him, and either you like it or you don't. Again, not saying I condone it or that men should be doing it, I'm just talking about what happens. And so the reality is that he will always lean to the sexual. When you guys have conversation, even maybe when you attempt to have deeper conversation with him, he will always find a way to bring it back to sex. And so you gotta pay attention to that. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with flirting, all right, every so often. And if you as a woman have introduced sex into the conversation, then don't penalize him because now he's riding your wave, so to speak. If you started that train moving, that's a different story. But when you notice that even when you're trying to have normal conversation, this man keeps interjecting sexual things, then yes, that's clearly telling you that he is just interested in that. And you've got to say, all right, well, you know what? We don't do that here. And that's a great way to kind of check the situation, is to simply don't just jump to being offended when he does it. Address it. As I said in the very beginning, you want to address these issues before you just cut people off. Because again, some men don't know how to handle themselves properly. I'm not giving that as a cop-out, but that is a reality for some guys. And I think that there are situations where if you said to him, listen, you seem to always want to talk about sex. If you are interested in me, and you're interested in anything serious, we need to be able to talk about other things. If he is genuine, then he'll respect that, and then you'll see a change in his discussions and what he wants to talk about. If he's not, he'll either dismiss it, catch an attitude, or next time you guys talk, he's still doing the same thing. So again, his desire to continue to talk about sexual things or send you sexual things is definitely a sign he just wants to have sex with you. Let me make it real clear up front. When he says he is not ready for a relationship, stop dealing with him. That's the first plain and simple answer. But let me further explain this, because again, so many women get caught up in these situations, going about it the wrong way and only causing more problems for themselves. Listen, here's the reality. When a man tells you he's not ready for a relationship, number one, do not get confused by the fact that he may behave in a way that makes you feel like he has feelings for you. Because that can be very confusing, and you can start to latch on to his actions even though his words are telling you something completely different. Now, I know we always say actions speak louder than words, but in situations like these, the actions and the words have to be consistent with each other. If they're not, there's a huge problem. And so when any man can say to you, he's not ready for a relationship, that is the default answer. I don't care what he does for you. I don't care how he treats you. If he says he is not ready for one, do not make yourself believe otherwise, because you're setting yourself up for failure. Now, he may say he's not ready because, one, he just doesn't want a relationship with you. And I know that might be hard for you to hear and a hard pill for you to swallow, but I don't want to give you no BS. I don't want to try to give you this nice answer that makes you feel okay, because that doesn't really help you in this situation. The reality is that he does not see you as the one for him. And you know what? That's perfectly fine, because he's not the one for you. And I'm glad at least somebody's recognizing that in this situation. Don't internalize that. Don't take it personally in the sense that there's something wrong with you. Listen, it doesn't matter how amazing and great of a woman you are. Everyone's not going to like you. Everyone's not going to see you as their potential wife or someone they want to invest their time and energy into. And that's fine, because you're not going to view every good man as someone you want to invest into and spend your life with. It's just the way life is. We don't connect with everybody. We're not going to want to take it there with everybody. So be it. The quicker we can recognize that, the quicker we can move on and be ready and willing to receive someone who is truly for us. So again, he just may not see you as the one, but rather than tell you that, he'll just say, I'm not ready for a relationship, because he may want to enjoy you in the moment. He may want to continue to hang out with you and gain whatever benefits you provide without him having to commit to you and you obligate him to being officially in a relationship with you. But regardless, You got to take him at his word. He says he's not ready for a relationship. Leave it at that. But now there's the other side to this. He may say he's not ready for a relationship because guess what? He's actually not ready. He may recognize within himself that there are issues he needs to address, or there's some foundations that he needs to set. Again, it may have nothing to do with you as a woman. As a matter of fact, it may be out of respect for you because he views you in high regard. He does believe you deserve the best, and he recognizes he is not prepared or willing or able to give that right now. And if that is the case, you still have to leave his ass alone. It doesn't change anything because guess what? If he is not ready to give you what you need, then you don't need to be giving him what he wants. That's only going to shoot yourself in the foot. You've taken away any incentive for him to get his act together, for him to be able to come back later, and you guys can come together and be in a relationship. So regardless of whether he doesn't see you as the one or he's truly not ready, the answer remains the same. You have to let him go. Now, a lot of women attempt to play the middle ground and still remain friends. And they'll say to themselves, well, I'm not going to have sex with him. I'm not going to get too involved with him. But you got to stop lying to yourself because many times you fall right into that trap. You end up doing girlfriend stuff. You end up sleeping with him. And even if you don't, you become so emotionally invested and consumed by this situation that it completely takes your eye off of where you should be focusing. Your relationship with God, your purpose, your growth. You cannot let this man be a distraction in your life. If he is not ready to be what he needs to be for you or to fully commit to you, then let him go. When he's ready, he can come back. You guys can discuss it. And if things are what they need to be, then you can have a relationship with this individual. But do not get caught up trying to play the middle ground because you're only going to play yourself. So ultimately, listen, there are going to be some situations where the man's just lying. There are going to be some situations where the man is being honest. Either way, you don't need to get romantically involved with him. You need to be honest with yourself that you cannot handle trying to be just his friend in the meantime. And if there's truly a connection there, there will be an opportunity later on. But you don't need to be sitting around waiting for that opportunity. You need to shift your focus back on you. You need to make sure you're doing what God wants you to do in your life. And when you do, you'll receive everything that is truly for you. Don't get caught up in these situations. Do what needs to be done. Focus on your growth, and you're going to see the blessings come your way. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there.
There's a quote that says, they will ignore you until they need you. And that's as real as it gets. But the reality is that being ignored is a very stressful, hurtful experience that can create a lot of resentment